is Nada Ghazal. I'm the founder and creative director of Nada Jewelry. It's a medium-sized business that started in 2004. I wouldn't want this to be a presentation, really. I'm not like used to presentations. I'm more used to actually talking about my passion, which is creating. Today I'm going to talk about something a bit different. So to be able to make this talk more interesting for me as well, I'd like to know a bit about you. I need to know, is there anyone in the luxury, in the fashion industry? Mainly designers, in retail, designers? Jewelry design, great. Anyone else in jewelry design? Anyone in jewelry production? No? So mainly in the fashion, okay. Basically, so I'm going to talk a bit about how technology is shaping the jewelry industry. But again, I'm going to talk from my point of view. So it's a bit about my experience in the past 14 years. Oops. Okay. So basically, being in this business since 2004, I'm going to talk about how technology and innovation has shaped the product in terms of design, how it has shaped the process in terms of production, and how it has shaped the customer experience. So basically, technology can really open up new design ideas. I'm just going to explain to you a bit about my experience. When I started in 2004, there was a lot of things that I imagined, but I was not able to actually design. Maybe because of the details, maybe because of the production, I couldn't actually get my what I imagined into, even if I was able to get it into paper, I wasn't able to actually, get it into life. So one of the main things that has changed our lives as jewelry designers is actually being able to do everything, to draw everything on the computer rather than do it on a piece of paper. And by saying that, it means that if any of you today just has an imagination of a piece, you can actually, and is able to finalize this piece on the computer, you can actually get it finalized, and I'll take you through the process. So from a design point of view, I think this has really brought us really forward, because now we can design things that have the simplest details that we were not able to do in 2000. I mean, I was not able to do in 2004. And basically, the technology is significantly saving time in jewelry manufacturing. So the first part was design, okay, and then the second part is the manufacturing. As we know, the jewelry business is really growing. Just to give you an idea, there is around $170 billion of jewelry is sold every year, and it's expected to reach around above 430, we'll go into the numbers soon. So basically, it's very important to save time in actually producing jewelry, because there is a big demand in the market. So I'm just going to take you through the few things that we have, that we are working with, that's actually saving us time in producing jewelry. There is the 3D printing. 3D printing was born in 1981, actually. It's not new at all. It's around 40 years old. However, year after year, we've been using 3D printing more and more. Just to give you an idea, like a year ago, when I used to print a bangle, like a big bracelet, sometimes it used to take me around 18 hours to print. So I would put it this afternoon to be able to get it tomorrow afternoon, around noontime, so that I can actually finalize the production process. Now the same bangle this year with a newer machine, it actually takes us around 3 hours to print within the same shape and same size. So even though 3D printing has existed, 3D printing is just like advancing year after another, actually month after another, because even suppliers now of 3D printing, by the time they sell you a 3D printer, the next month the same salesperson comes to sell you an updated one. So basically, 3D printing is just like a necessity in every production house. Laser cutting. Just also to talk a bit about 3D printing as well. I'm sorry, I'm going to get there. One thing that has been has had a big demand in the market is actually creating jewelry that has multifunction. So multifunctional jewelry. And to actually create multifunctional jewelry, you really need to have very specific details, and you really need to be very accurate for pieces to be able to change position and change design, etc. And 3D printing has really helped us in doing that. As for laser cutting is one of the main machines as well in any workshop. We do not only use it just to engrave, I mean it's for laser cutting and engraving, but it also opened because people are looking for less expensive pieces. It means people are looking for jewelry pieces that may look big, but are they're low in weight. So laser cutting machines have been able to help us as well to actually create pieces that look as if they're big pieces, but then again, when you weigh them, they're very, just very light pieces. And basically, so you have a lot of actually production houses who only work on laser machines. They don't have 3D, they do nothing. It's just like pure gold with laser machines. They just like do a lot of mass production. There is also laser welding. Back in 2004, we used to do everything by hand, whereas laser welding just helped us to weld any little piece without actually showing any trace of welding whatsoever. So laser welding is very important, and it's just like a must for any jewelry production house. So basically, these are just like 3 out of many machines that we feel technology has, that we feel are really needed in any workshop to be able to be part of this competitive market. And because first they save us time as well. There is more demand for jewelry, so that's needed as well. But however, when I think about it, I do love machines as well, but I'm a craftswoman. So it's very important to have a balance. Like for me, technology is not enough unless you really have the right finish at the end, the right design, innovative design, etc. So it's just like you have to have a full knowledge of everything. And then we get into improving customer experience. Thank you for really getting us into that. Like a wider info on that. I'm just going to talk a bit about the customer experience, just like what we are using today. What's very important for us, okay, is before when we used to, when I started my brand in 2004, it was really very difficult to just like go international. Whenever I needed to go international, we needed to go to trade shows, etc. But now we all know that we can just like by having a website, by social media, by digital marketing, etc. We already become like just an international brand because someone from Tokyo called us or someone from Australia called us to buy a piece, even though we do not have e-commerce yet. But still, you become global automatically now, whereas before you were just like this little brand in a city. So that again is very important. And then we have e-commerce. E-commerce is very important in the jewelry market, although people think like, really, would someone buy jewelry on e-commerce? But then again, we're expecting like $20 billion in 2018, and then the expected reach is $45 billion in 2020, which is, a large number. So even me being here based in Lebanon, although we sell in US, Emirates, London, and others, but then we still feel that it's very important to have the e-commerce. Although I'm one of these people that just believe in the balance, so for me, I know that a lot of people say retail is dying, but I just think that it's not retail that's dying. I think it's boring physical retail that's dying. So basically, it's very important to have like a combination of a shop, where, you know, a physical retail as well as e-commerce, as online shopping. Because you still have, especially with luxury brands, you still have people who actually want to touch the piece, who want to touch the fabric, who want to feel it, who want to feel the gold. So physical retail is still very important, and what's important is just to have a balance between physical retail and the e-commerce. And then also now, this is something that we also need to think of, although we don't have it personally, which is virtual reality. Because a lot of jewelry brands, especially when it comes to wedding bands and wedding rings, they do a lot. They buy a lot of jewelry through virtual reality because they really need to actually try the piece. And then do it yourself, which is the personalization. We're actually starting our online boutique, and when I thought of the online boutique last year, before I actually thought of starting it up, one of the things that I kept thinking of is, okay, fine, so we'll start an online boutique, but then again, people are going to get really bored of online shopping, the way they are bored of physical retail. So I always believe that it's very important, even when you're getting into something new, think ahead of that as well. Like even now, when I thought, okay, I want to get into e-commerce, while building the e-commerce platform, I started thinking of, okay, fine, I'm going to build this platform, but I really need to make it interesting. And personalizing jewelry is really, is something that could be very interesting, because the person may feel that they have actually created that piece. You would actually unconsciously make them feel that they have created it, although at the back end you've created every piece of it and they just like mix and match. And for someone to feel that they did it themselves, then it makes it more precious. So I feel this is very important to think of. And as a matter of fact, I think it's very important to think of it as well for pieces that you do not have in your retail, in your physical retail stores, because that would drive more traffic to your e-commerce rather than think, okay, but I can find it here, I can find it there. So you just have to differentiate to have that balance. So this is something I think that's very important, and something that I would recommend if someone is going to get into an e-commerce platform. So basically, at the end of the day, for me, I just think technology is accelerating the industry growth. As I said, in terms of jewelry, in 2018, we're expecting that the jewelry would sell around $170 billion, and reaching in 22 over $440 billion. So I think technology at this point has just like, we needed technology to get there, and I do not believe that if we did not have the facility in designing, like on the computer, the facility in having all of the technology to produce in a fast manner, I do not think we would got into that growth. Just to give you an idea, and some of you may be like upset about this idea, but in around 2010, let's say like 8 years ago, we used to produce around 400 pieces a year. We had in the workshop 4 craftsmen and myself. Today we produce above 2,000 pieces. Does anyone have an idea how many craftsmen we have? No, we still have 4. Okay, the thing is, with a workshop, you cannot have less than 4, because usually you have to have the chef atelier, you have to have the goldsmith, you need to have the polisher, and you need to have the stone setter. Okay, so you need to have a combination of the 4. However, the 4 were able to produce 400 pieces 8 years ago. Today, the 4 are able to produce the 2,000 pieces. Okay, which makes a difference, and probably by the end of this year, with the same 4 people, we're going to produce up to 3,000 pieces, because we've already passed the 1,500 pieces. So I know it may sound a little bit sad to feel that the craftsmen are just like decreasing in number, and the machines are increasing in number. But then again, I think we're getting more industries nowadays. So basically, there's probably work, and anyway, there are other opportunities as well. So this is it from my side. I think everybody loves brands that make a difference. I always say this at the office. And it's always important to take a note of all modern tools that can really help us stand out. So it's very, I mean, for me, I just like look around and see what is it that I can benefit out of, because I want to stand out. And I do not stop there. One of the things that I always believe in is that even when you do find tools that really help you, you just have to always think one step ahead, because business is so fast and life is so fast. Thank you.